This month, the Inspiration Collaboration Design Team are featuring the new in colors, and I have chosen the Bloom Boutique DSP. There is a sticker sheet available, but this is a specialty DSP. Can you see all that shine that is on these sheets? It is just great. And then the back side does not have any shine, but there's some adorable prints. So I am scrapbooking pictures from my nephew's prom, and I've went ahead and mounted them. I have a couple that are 3x5, a few that are 4x4, and then a couple that are 4x6. And I've trimmed them down like a 1/4 of an inch and then matted on white and then again on Secret C cardstock. I think Secret C is like one of those great neutrals that you can use. I liked that he had a blue suit or tux, and I wanted to use that as my background, a deeper blue than that, but not quite a black. I thought it looked a little bit better with this paper pack. So then I'm picking out my papers. So I took the inspiration from the girls' dresses. So you can't see the pictures on the left, but it's a blue dress that his date had, and it is beautiful, and it has some little ruffles on it which are adorable. So I thought that blue played nicely with that hydrangea hue, and I just picked this little almost like a plus mark pattern for the background, and I cut that at 6x12 and ran it across both pages. He was also on the prom court, and so you see that coral type of dress that the girl that he escorted had. So I thought I'd bring in some crisp cantaloupe. So I am cutting 4 strips of 1/2 inch by 12 inches to run above and below that other print that I've already laid down. And now I will bring in these strips of Peaceful Pine. I believe they are 2.5 by 12 inches, and they kind of have a wavy print on them, which to me was kind of a nod to the girl's pretty blue dress that had the ruffles layers on it. So next I'm going to lay these pictures out. At first I thought I wanted this picture on the left to be at 8 inches because that's what I'm going to have some pictures on the right. And eventually, once I got to my embellishing, I did move that picture on the far left up so that it was equal with that 4x4 photo. So I am putting these 2 pictures about 1 inch in from the sides, and I'm placing those there. And then the reason I had trimmed down the other pictures to about 3x5 was because there was some distracting stripes that were on the gymnasium walls above that prom court, and it had a bold red and a gold, and I just didn't think it looked as all that well with the rest of this layout. Of course, all the girls have on lots of different colors, especially in the group photo, but I just thought those stripes on the gymnasium wall were just a bit too distracting. And then by cutting those 2 pictures down, it also let me leave a little bit of gap between the pictures as well. And I really liked that, but I really wanted to make sure that I could double matte all of these photos. I do usually matte photos. Not always do I double matte, but I feel like prom is one of those special occasions. So you bring out all the stops and you put a little bit of something extra into one of these layouts. So I'm lining up those pictures, getting them all in place, and then I'm going to start working on the title. And I'm going to bring in the party alphabet dies. I just love these, especially because if I have something that's not too long of a title, it's nice and big and prominent to put on the page. So I'm going to pull off the letters for prom. And then I really think I want it to say Senior Prom. Now I could abbreviate senior with just SR, but I think I want to spell out the word senior. So I'll probably bring in another alphabet for that. So I ran the letters for prom through with the Secret C cardstock, and now I'm running them through with some of that Bloom Boutique Specialty DSP. And you know, this scrapbook is for my nephew, but I think for prom he's going to have some flowers on his layout. I tried to include some other prints as well, but ultimately I am going to put some flowers on his layout. And it's not like some of the other layouts I did when he went to some homecomings and things and did not take a date and he just went with the guys. This time he took a date with them, so I think it's perfectly fine to go ahead and include some floral prints and maybe even some embellishments that have flowers on them. So now I'm going to glue my letters together, and what I'm going to do is slightly offset these two letters so that you see a shadow that is to the left and up on each of the letters. It's going to be at the top and on the left for all three letters, and that really helps it pop up off the page. And I will eventually use my dimensionals to put these on the page as well, which gives another layer to that whole shadow effect, and it looks really nice on the page. Do you have a certain alphabet that you like to use on your page? I have 3 different alphabets from Stampin' Up. I have Alphabet a la Mode, which is the tall, skinny ones. And then I have the mini alphabet, which is what I'm going to bring in just a minute. And this right here is from the Stylish Shapes. So I cut that out, and then here you're seeing the mini alphabet dies, and this is where I will spell out the word senior. And I will also pop that up with dimensionals so that I can maybe even embellish around it a little bit more if I want in the future. Now, as of the recording of this video, all of the supplies that I'm using are available on the website. So if you go to Katie, Kati, Weeks, WEAKS, .stampinup.net, any of these supplies are available as of the time that I'm recording, and I am putting this video up tomorrow. So I hope that you can get the supplies if you would like to recreate this layout. It is just beautiful, and I'm really excited about how it turned out. So here we go, spelling out the word senior, and it fits perfectly on this little banner. I was so excited. I wasn't sure if it would fit or if I'd have to try to recreate it and move my die down, but it's an absolute perfect fit on that tiny little banner. And surprise, Brock went to not one prom, but 2. And today he sent me more pictures from another prom. So flip-flap to the rescue. So I will put this inside here and explain about the other prom that he went to in my journaling. And next I brought in these nested essential dies, and I have cut them out and even used the lovely arrangements dies to cut a little pattern into some of these prints. And the dies I cut twice for the large one, and I made sure I had just a piece of it to use as a topper. And then I went ahead and die cut out of white willow the flowers, and in the peaceful pine I cut out a bunch of the leaves. So what I'm going to do next is bring in my hydrangea hue and crisp cantaloupe, and I'm going to stamp these flowers. And you can see those are the other stamp pads that are available, and we have them all in the new magnetic pads for the new in colors. I am so excited about this because I came over from close to my heart, and I have several customers and even downline who really had problems with the regular Stampin' Up cases. Many of them have arthritis, and they just had a lot of problems opening those. So we now have these in the in colors, and we are expected to be able to get all of our new colors next year in the magnetic cases. So that's so exciting. So I am stamping all of these little flowers in the hydrangea hue and the crisp cantaloupe, and I have a big flower and a smaller flower. And the trick with this big flower is to make sure you have the petals lined up just right. So I have put all of my dies facing the same way so that once I figure it out, I can stamp them all pretty quickly. And I love how these have turned out. And I'm going to do what I'm calling lazy stamping and coloring. So I'm stamping the flowers in the color that I want, and then I'm going to come in with a blending brush, and I'm going to color them in with that blending brush, as you'll see in just a minute. So let's finish up the stamping here, and then I will bring in a little messy mat that I can do my blending on. Okay, the way that I like to do this type of blending is I will take my ink pad, put the lid back on it, and just kind of squeeze it. And then it gives me a puddle of ink, and I use that with my blending brush. I tap it off on my mat or on my glass mat or whatever I'm working on, and then I just blend it onto the flower. And I really like how this just gives me a little bit of quick coloring. To me, it's kind of the laziest way I can color, but it's very fast and efficient. And I can do the same thing with the hydrangea hue. When I did the hydrangea hue, I didn't seem to get as much ink inside that lid as I did for the crisp cantaloupe. But I just colored a few with the ink, and then I went back and I squeezed the lid again, got myself some more ink, and just finished up the rest of the flowers. And then once I finish coloring these up, I am ready for the embellishing part. So all of those little tags that I created, I'm going to figure out where I want them around my layout. And I made a few extras, which is absolutely perfect because then I have practically the fastest cards that I can make because I have some little tags already pre-made. And here is when I decide I have to move that picture up. It's just too low for me to get an embellishment cluster down in the bottom like I've created. So I move that up, and no one will be the wiser as long as you don't tell. So I lined it up with the other picture, that 4x4 right under the word prom, and I think that'll look really nice. And then that will give me room for my little tag to be down here in the corner. So on each of the little tags, I have brought in this gold striped ribbon, and I have tucked the ribbon down between the layers, and I just stapled it to the top. You can put a hole in it. There's lots of different things you could do, but I decided I would just staple it right to the tag, and it worked perfect, and it helps hold all of those layers together. And then I'm bringing in all of those flowers that I stamped, and I'm just deciding on how I'm going to arrange those on each of these little tags. I have flowers, and then I cut out several leaves from the peaceful pine, and I will use those to tuck in to each of these little clusters to embellish it. I eventually added some more leaves around the word senior, and then I used my hues of blue flowers as well as the pearls of beauty, and I use those around each of the clusters and around the word senior as well. And I did go back and add some journaling strips as well. I journaled inside the flip flap under the one picture, and I also added journaling strips down below each of the girls that he was with, the one that he took as his date, the one that he escorted on the prom court, and I added one up at the top for some journaling that shows where they had their prom. And here's a look at the finished layout. I hope you like all of the details, and you'll watch what the other girls have done with the new Stampin' Up! And
subscribe
colors.
for more crafty inspiration.